Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching us from. Today we have the privilege of visiting Songambele na Masomo, an institution that takes in students who are able differently or who are disabled to provide them with educational and health services. And it is located in Kuru Kayaba. We could not take photos or pictures of students as it has come to our concern that many people record them with an intention of fundraising money for their own self-gains. However, we managed to talk to Sister Mary, their director, who shared her concerns and encouraged people and government at large to chip in financially for the institution to be able to take care of these vulnerable students. Enjoy.
Yeah, thank you so much. Welcome for the show, sister. This is the Mylene Nunda show. The show itself is about women empowerment, girls, and of course, we can't exonerate our children because we are their mothers. Now, today, we are here courtesy of one of your employees, who is Daniel. He talked about this institution, he talked about the children who are here. So today we decided to come over and see the children by ourselves. Before we go far, may I know who is this beautiful mom?
Yeah, my name is Mary Colleen and I'm a Sister of Mercy, and I've been working in the county of Nairobi for a long, long time before most of you were born. I'm working here for 48 years.
Wow.
Now, in the 80s, we had an attempted coup in Kenya and poverty became very high. And this Mukuru slum grew up very big and they had no schools. So me, I was headmistress, Our Lady of Mercy. So I came to Mukuru. I started off one school called Mukuru Kayaba because I only knew Kayaba. But when I was in Kayaba, people came from Reuben, they came from Kwajenga, they came from Lunga Lunga, they came from South B and South C, saying their children also were out of school. So we ended up with 6 primary schools. So these 6 primary schools were catering for the children who were mostly normal. But from the beginning, we tried to sponsor the children with disabilities to boarding facilities. But then we saw there were very many. So in 2007, there was another project on this plot called Goal Ireland. And that plot, they had to leave Kenya because of various reasons, and they offered us the plot. So when we got this plot, we said, let's dedicate it for the children with disabilities who can't fit in normal schools.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very happy that now we have 104 children here.
Wow.
And some of them have extreme disabilities and multiple disabilities. But we're very happy that they get a chance to come to school.
Sure.
And of course, we empower the mothers because if the children can't come to school, the mother has to take care of that child. And as you know, a child with disability feeds very slowly.
Sure.
So some of the mothers, they fed the child, then they left the child locked in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Then they went out to look for work for their family.
Sure.
And the child was left alone all day.
Mm-hmm.
The mother had no other way because she had to work.
Sure.
So now when this centre came here, at least the mother could bring the child to the centre. And then she could go to look for Kibarua here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped the mother a lot.
Sure.
So we're happy for those mothers, because to be the mother of a handicapped child whose husband runs away, blaming you for getting the disabled child, it's
Blame.
among the mothers of the handicapped are among the poorest people in Mukuru, because very often their partner has left them. Now we do have 3 or 4 fathers, and the mothers have run away from them, saying this man is giving me a defective child. So it can be either partner. But what's really hampering us in our work is a lot of beliefs that people are cursed, that it's witchcraft, tribal beliefs, that people did something to deserve this handicapped child. So it's very hard. We have even a person of low stature here, a dwarf, and he and his brother, because of the stigma, the 2 of them started drinking very early. So even somebody who's not handicapped, actually, a dwarf is not really handicapped, he's short, but he's not handicapped in other ways. But even them, the stigma is so high that most of the male dwarfs, they begin drinking, and they drink themselves to death.
Sure.
The women live because they get a baby very early.
Sure.
So it's good if the county government take interest, if they spread awareness, and if they try to have some services. The services they have are minimal. Now, we would really like those services to improve. Now, there's a movement that's saying that all children should be integrated into normal schools,
Sure.
but that's not possible because a teacher with 50 children, how will she help that handicapped child? How will she get time to teach that handicapped child? So there are some children who will have special needs and they need care and attention. And you can't have them in a big school with so many children and no special teachers, no special home liaison, no social workers. So they really do need a lot of care and a lot of attention. And unfortunately, that care and attention is very expensive.
Okay.
You know, you have to have physiotherapists, you have to have speech therapists, you have to have teachers, social workers, carers, cooks, cleaners, security.
Yeah.
And to pay all those people, that's the very big challenge of the salaries.
So maybe if I can interject, you've said about the institution, the kind of children you are receiving here. Do you have boarding section?
I don't have boarding section for the reason, once you make a boarding section, people come from outside.
Yes.
Like, for example, our neighbouring secondary school, Our Lady of Mercy. We sisters built it for the people of this area. But instead of that, another head teacher came and made it boarding. Now people come from Rift Valley, from central Kenya, from Mombasa to board there, and the children of this area can't get places. So I didn't want that corruption, that we have the children boarding and they come from all over, and the children of Mukuru still stay without services.
Sure. Now, sister, well, what type of cases are you having here? As in,
Yeah, we're having cerebral palsy is the most common.
yeah,
And we have children who have mental impairments, that they're not mentally okay. And then we have children with physical disabilities, and we have Down syndrome. And the most difficult we have autistic children. And we have children who are partially deaf, partially blind. Now, the children who are completely deaf, or deaf and blind, or completely blind, we try to get them into special schools to have them boarding because we don't have the facilities for them here. But the children who are partially blind, we try to get specs, we try to get them the helps they need. And then we have some children who are partially deaf. And they're expensive because they need the hearing aid, they need a mold for the hearing aid. And to get the specialist to test them is very, very difficult. Sometimes you can't get the specialist to test them.
so if I may ask, how do you sustain these children? Because I can see the number is becoming bigger and
Now,
bigger.
I must say the people of Nairobi are very good. These people in the county of Nairobi, they have improved in helping. So they help with the food, they help with the cleaning materials, they help with all these normal things you need every day, and that's a wonderful help.
Yes.
It's a wonderful help. They bring diapers, they bring a lot of the things the children need, and that's a wonderful help. And then we have a group called Team Pankaj, and they help with the lunch. Team Pankaj.
Oh, the
Pankaj.
Indian.
Yeah, the
Pankaj.
Indian. He supplies lunches to schools. Now, he supplies some lunch, but then they have to have breakfast. They have to have special food, some of them, because they can't eat the food. Their food has to be blended. So we have all these special things. But then from abroad, we have two or three groups who are helping us. And but they're mostly individuals with interest. Like there's a Sister of Mercy in Ireland, in Derry, and that Sister of Mercy, every Christmas she writes a letter and people help her, then she sends us the money. So we have a number of individuals who are very helpful, and we have a number of companies that come here and they help. So that's improving. The local help is improving, and we're very happy to see that happening.
Yes. So now that we have a county government in place, we have members of parliament of this area, we have MCAs.
Yeah, now unfortunately, our constituency is from Starehe.
Yes, I
Now,
know.
when we were in Macadara, it was better. When we were in Langata, it was better. But now, when the constituencies from Starehe, that area around Starehe is very crowded, and the MP seems to think that's his area. So this area, since we got this, I'm not blaming the MP, but since they changed those constituency boundaries, we feel neglected.
Sure.
Very badly neglected. I don't think we've seen that MP. We haven't even seen him.
So, have you done any, as in, have you tried to reach the area MP?
We may have, they may have, but the problem is sometimes he thinks we're not even in his constituency. I know our school, Bakita.
Because you're at the boundaries.
We're at the boundary, and he
There
says
is.
that you don't belong to us, and Bakassi says you don't belong to us. Actually, we're like people of no land and no anywhere.
No man's land.
No man's land.
So,
But
how-
it used to be like that. We
Yeah.
used to have an MP. The time we were best served is when we had an MP in Langata,
Mhm.
and they were always around South Bay.
But I think, sister, this is something to do with the community. It should have a community mercy or empathy.
You see, when
It's-
the MP is that side, all the MCAs and all, I don't know what, they'll all be going that side. That's where the power is. Now this side, I feel as if we're nowhere.
This is a matter of humanity. It's not a matter of boundaries. And I'm urging the relevant people who have the burden in themselves, not even to look at boundaries. They should come and help.
You see, they think of votes. And among handicapped children and their parents, how many votes will you get? You know,
So kind of they have treated it as a political game.
I'm just saying they're political creatures. Political
Yes.
creatures think of votes. And when you think, like even the people who wanted to build this centre, they wanted to build a primary school.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them, please, we had sheds here, we had containers, and we had semi-permanent buildings, but I always felt ashamed. So when
I'm
people
sorry
rang
for
me
that.
up and they wanted to build a primary school, I said, please, we want a centre for handicapped. And they were slow because they were saying, we want to make a big impact. With primary, we'll have 1,000, 300 or 400 children, but with handicap, we'll only have a few. And I said, but for that few, the impact is huge because that few are locked in the house and they have nothing.
I know.
Yeah, so it's good we try to raise the awareness. You know, because they're few, they're not big many. Like a big school, the MP will be very happy, and
Yeah.
the parents of a big school. But here, because the numbers are quite small and are very poor.
Yes. Now, sister, you talked about empowering the mothers of the victims.
Yeah. Now,
What kind of empowerment are you?
First thing we do, we take the child during the day, so the mother can leave the child here at 8 o'clock, and she
Yes.
comes back for the
Yeah,
child
that's the
at
first
4.
empowerment.
That's the first
Empowerment.
empowerment. And then the mothers who are not able to afford anything, Helen, the social worker here, and Mary and Fred, they try to see how that mother can have a business or what she can do to help herself.
So far, the business is on for
Yeah.
for some.
Some of them, Mary will tell or Helen will tell you the details of that.
Yeah.
And then we have women working here. We have a teacher called Mary. She was very clever. She had a baby, found her sitting in the slums selling a few vegetables. And I noticed she was very bright. We took her to another centre where she helped as an untrained teacher. Then we sent her to train as an early childhood teacher, and she's wonderful. She's here. So a number of our staff have been empowered like that, yeah.
Sister, one
And then
thing I'm happy
now
about.
the mothers, the ones who are young, we try to take them to training in vocational, like hairdressing, like
Oh.
catering, like plumbing,
Wow.
like some of the ladies like plumbing or they like to do welding or whatever. We have a vocational school here where we'd like, you know, some of them are unemployable the way they are
Wow.
because they left school and then they didn't very little. They don't practice English. They don't practice Kiswahili. They're speaking their own
Their own
language.
language.
And now, you know, when they go to say something in Kiswahili, they're like me. They're hesitating. We also have very rude words, very bad words. So they're not suitable to go for an
For
interview
employment.
or all they can do is clean.
Clean.
But some of them have the potential, like that Mary. She has the potential to be an excellent teacher, maybe an administrator one day.
Sure.
She has the intelligence and the potential.
Yes.
So some few of them, we have raised their standard, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So can we say, out of your hands, this institution has raised children, disabled children, who can work out there, who can be able to work on to stand on their own.
There's a certain number of them only who will be able to do that. We have autistic children.
Yes.
They can't communicate. They're running around. They find it hard to sit down. Now we pray God to help us to get through to them. But you need a lot of expertise. And maybe the expertise is not even within Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
There are children who can't read or write. They're dyslexic. Again, expertise is needed to break the barriers with them.
Mm-hmm.
And we're very lucky that at least we have a lot of equipment where they can learn to walk.
Yeah,
And
but they're enjoying a lot.
Daniel here is working as an untrained speech therapist, trying to help them to talk.
Okay.
Now, so out of 104, maybe every year when maybe 20 are leaving, maybe about 10 will manage to go to work or do some kind of a job. The other 10 are severely handicapped, you see.
Yeah.
So you try what you can to develop them. And but you'd need more expertise, more help, and it's an expensive business.
Yes.
Every child needs a lot of help.
Yeah, every child is unique.
Yeah.
And the kind of help is unique too.
Yeah, and every country, they find it hard to afford what the handicapped need.
Sure. Now, maybe because of time, now we've struck a deal. We are here today. Maybe we'll be coming again to do our follow-ups. What do you think the government can offer? Can the government offer anything to you at the moment? Do you need any services from the government, especially the county government?
From the government, we need to be registered with the Ministry of Education.
You need to
be registered with the Ministry of Education, the institution, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't recognize us, they say you're not registered. Now when you go to register, it's a long process, and you go there and you start registering, then COVID comes, then you go and you start again, you pay a registration fee again, then something else happens. And to get them on board, it's not easy.
So can we say if you get assistance on the process of registration, you can do the registration of the institution?
And then the mother's empowerment, the government says they give 2,000 shillings a month to every parent of a disabled child.
Yes.
But in actual fact, half of them don't get it because the process is long. And for very poor people with little education, to get the child all the documentation that is needed, they have to have the birth cert, they have to have the medical cert, they have to have the disability cert. And these disability services of the county, they leave a lot to be desired. Because maybe they tell the mother to come on a Thursday. So the mother will go all the way to Makadara, to St. Paul's or wherever it is, or St. Anne's, and they go all the way there, and then they find nobody there. And then they're told to go to Kenya Institute of Special Education. It's all the way in Kasarani. And that mother with little money, she's missing her whole day's work, and maybe she goes all the way and maybe finds nobody. So I'm just telling you, those services, they leave a lot. They're good, but they leave a lot. They need a lot of improvement, and somehow they need sensitivity to the case of a mother with little money, trying to travel all that distance, and sometimes to get no help. They're told to come back on Thursday, come back on Tuesday, but every time she goes, she's missing her day's work. And then some of them can't go because they're a cleaner for somebody, and that cleaner says if you miss work, you'll miss the job.
Yes.
So their case is complicated, and you'd love to have somebody there's all these disabled organizations, Council of the Disabled, but who's there to help to speed up the process of those mothers so they can get that 2,000 shillings. And then they feel that child is of value to them, that child is bringing them some food or bringing them some sustenance.
Sister, let's start from the point of registration of the institution. Are you willing to start registration as we leave this place?
Yes.
Because we can get help from other people
Yes.
to assist you register the institution. Because maybe
That
that's why you are
come
not
here-
helped.
The ministry people came here maybe 2008, maybe 2010, and they said there's no problem. You just do this, that, the other. You do that, and then there's no. It's like as if you keep getting stalled.
Do you have a title for this on an
Yes,
allotment?
we have a title for this land. Yeah.
So what is so difficult? Is it the processes which are too long,
I
or
don't know. Some people come and say we don't want any more special education centres. They should be all integrated. You know, there's a policy in the government that children with special needs should all be integrated, but it's not possible.
I think from where we are today, I don't want to say much about the registration, but if you allow me,
Yeah,
go
if
and
you
inquire.
help us with that
Inquire
registration.
because you
yeah.
have a title, the
Yeah.
institution is in place, it is working,
Yeah.
the children are suffering, and
and-
maybe that's why you are not getting help
And
from
you
the
see,
government
there's
because
a-
you are not registered.
And then there's a belief that if the children, you know, inspect this, the syllabus they have for special education, a child is supposed to be helped to wash, to talk, to go to the toilet, to take care of the child's life needs. But now when it comes to reading and writing, now they say those children who can read and write should be in normal school. But let's say you get a child who's Down syndrome. You teach him to read, you teach him to write, but his understanding is very weak. Now, if he goes to a normal school, they want him to go back to standard 2.
That means they will be done with
Nemes.
the child.
And you can't put a big boy of 12 back to standard 2 with small, and you can even kill them, you know, swing them around, throw them. It's dangerous. But there's a lot of misunderstanding. Now, this NEMIS, this new system of the government for CBC, that's another very big problem. Before, when a child came who couldn't walk, couldn't talk, we thought the child had no understanding. Now when the child learned to talk and to write and to read, we saw the child is quite clever. Now we try to transfer the child, now because of NEMIS and this new system, the head teacher says, no, they have to go back to standard 2 because grade 3 is where they do. So there's no thought in the government yet for the children from special education, and we've also street boys. We have also careless mothers and fathers who don't take the children to school. Now you get a big child of 12 who hasn't gone to school, they want to put him back to standard 2.
That's very bad.
You see, there's that inclusion. How are we going to have that grade 3 test done here? So
it's a
that
bit
the children
tricky.
who are able, they get graded here. They shouldn't have to go and begin again somewhere else. And as I say, in the primary schools, the teachers have 70 children in a class. They don't have time to consider that child.
I think our society has a problem. They don't impress this kind of children. You see, like now the way you're saying, if a child from the institution is taken to a normal school, surely, are we trying to help this child, or we are barring this child
You see,
completely?
there's a kind of a spirit or a movement in NGOs and in the government to have children integrated. So they say a blind child should be integrated in a normal school.
It's not
Now,
possible.
where it's possible is where you have a rich parent, where the parent can buy the computer that talks, where the parent can buy a watch that talks, and where all those helps are there, and where the teacher has an assistant, and the assistant is going to help that blind child.
It's not easy.
You see, whereas in the public system at the moment,
There's no balance.
if I was the CS for education, I would pay teachers only and supply enough teachers to all the schools and let everybody else supply books, supply other things. Because a lot of money goes missing with all that supply. Just supply teachers to the schools and let the county then chip in wherever small things are needed. But when there's not enough teachers and you have those huge numbers, there's no room there for inclusion.
Yeah, you've stated very well. There is no way you can include a disabled child in the same classroom with a normal child having all the facilities, and yet you see this disabled child maybe comes from a poor family. They are feeding for food, just food, and here there is a student they are sharing the same class with a talking computer, a talking watch. I don't think there is a balance there.
You see, it's complex.
It is
and
very
sometimes
complex.
when they make, I know when you're in an office and you're dealing with all normal people and your own children are normal, and your children, you're not conscious of the children coming from the streets. You're not conscious of the children of those mothers and fathers who never went to school,
Yeah.
and you're not conscious of the children with big disabilities. So you make the rules for the norm.
And no rules
And now
for
you say
the.
include all of these others where they're, but you can't. They can't work.
I think the government that is watching, the people, the real leaders who are watching, there is a problem with our community. Stigma is the biggest problem. When you say that you include all these children who are disabled and the normal ones in the same room, then you are not giving justice.
And even
to our children.
even the normal child can't be taught because the teacher will have to go and teach that slow one. And now the other parents, the 48 children will be left unattended while you see it's not possible.
It's a long process with our children, with our education structures. Maybe if we can deal with only our institution now, here,
Yeah.
this institution, how do you want the government to work with you?
I want the government now to include the children. There shouldn't be these strict rules that they have to go back to grade 3. You know, head teachers making a child join school to go back to grade 3 if they haven't been in NEMIS. You know, this system where they're registered digitally. Now that they have to open up those systems. They have to open up those systems so children from the streets, children of careless parents, and children with disabilities, because some of the children with disabilities will manage to overcome some of the disabilities, but there need to be a proper way of including them.
So I think because of time, we'll be coming again
Yeah,
to
okay.
do the follow-ups for the remaining time. I think your camera, you can face your camera. Can you address somebody out there how you'd want the students who are here to be helped? What kind of help do you need other than registration? Of course, you talk about registration, but how do you want it to be helped?
Yeah, now anybody who's running a business, we'd say to you, try and include at least one handicapped person, whether it's a lame person, a person who can't talk properly, a person partial hearing. Try and include at least one person with handicaps when you're employing. Because if everybody includes one, then those children will have hope of getting employment.
Okay.
And I would say, try and be aware. You're very lucky if you've married and you've got children who are fit and healthy.
Sure.
But there's your brother or there's your neighbour who's got a child who's not fit. And try and develop that awareness. And look on these children as special children, as gifts of God. A human beings come from A to a Z. There's the person who's completely fit and the person who can do almost nothing. We're mixed. So let us think of the people who can do nothing if we're very fit, and let us help and see how we can include them in the human family.
Thank you, sister. As you are facing your camera, can you give us the contact person in case we go out there? You can be contacted, the right person to be contacted in case of any help or in case of any steps or procedures of registration, because we are presenting your case. Can you face the camera and give your contacts from the email, maybe your telephone numbers? Yes. And you can give even the location of your institution, whoever wants to come in and visit.
Yeah, my name is Mary Colleen and my phone number is 0733 701 444. And this place is called Songambele, and it's on Aoko Road in South Bay, just opposite Riverbank entrance. And the children here, they come from the Mukulu informal settlement.
Thank you, sister. I'm so blessed today to host you, the Mylene Anunda Show. I'm so passionate about women, girls, and definitely our children, because we cannot have women without children.
Yeah, and when is your show on, and which station?
Mine is on online TV at
Okay.
GTV. We are going to share you with the link.
Give them the link.
I'll share you with the link so that you'll be seeing most of our activities that we are doing. Above all that, thank you so much. God bless you. Maybe in future, you never know. You never know who is watching this clip, and help maybe it's just a throwaway, a stone throwaway. So thank you, sister. I
Thank
hope
you.
to meet you again.
Thank you.
So
Thank
much
you
and
so
welcome.
much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. And
As-
thank you, gentlemen, for
Asante.
coming to do the video. We
Asante
appreciate.
sana.
Thank you.
Asante.
Thank you.
Haya. I